Here we go, 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 here we go. For another rock and roll march. Already on the march, I started the march a little bit on the late side because it was busy. Monday, yours truly, look, we're already atop the mountain. You see how it goes down, slope, and we're on West Mount, one of the three peaks of the Mount Royal. Gotta begin with gratitude, and it was a snowstorm earlier, so we got a lot of snow. Grateful, thankful. My rent's paid my rent February 1st. Paid my electricity bill yesterday, Sunday, as you can see from my past video. And today, from what I hear, the tariffs, 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods except of oil were rescinded or delayed for a month period. Just like this morning, I've heard an announcement that they were delayed and postponed for another month. For Mexico, of course, it was supposed to go 25% tariffs, and you know how I rock and roll. Grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bill is paid. Got food and coffee, got a big meal before I left. It is almost, it's 7:18 p.m. So I'm already on the march for more than 44 minutes. Almost an hour, more than 44 minutes already. So I'm gonna go a long one, more than 5 hours marching to the mountain, my second home and back to my headquarters here. I think it was the best move. I think for tariffs would have been something, a lose-lose situation. As you can see, I'm already on the mountain now, Mount Royal, and that's the down slope. You can see how it goes down, and there it can still go up. So right here, Quebecer, Canadian, North American, who was born in the United States of America twice in past lives, incarnations as a man and once as a woman. That makes 3 times. Post 7076. Calling for the North American Union by my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership, and I have discussing it for years and years. And today I'm financially stressed, already paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, but I'm open for business 24/7. For the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, firefighters, LOV, those involved in the snow removal operations. It was 0 degrees, so I've been on the light side already. Got the backpack on, you know. Already got that backpack on. Got the backpack on, got a few pounds on it, so stretch Monday, February 3rd, ending the 40-day Rite, 40-day journey, 40-day Rite, beginning a new one today, ending in at midnight, beginning a new one, and as that one began on the 24th of December, part of the ongoing Dragon versus Storm call, have been and will continue to call Donald Trump to fight me on the Canadian-US border and to build the North American people's Imperial Coliseum parallel to the construction of the Forgotten Goddess, GODDSS, Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess on the Canadian-US border. And those 44 tunnels, 44 tunnels, the number after 43 following, 43 before 45 is 44 tunnels that I will to build together with the construction workers for the continuity of the North American civilizational complex in case an emergency of a case of a thermonuclear war, and for the continuity of the North American civilizational complex, and inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain complex and the Montreal Underground. Village here in Montreal, we got it on the ground. City spanning miles, square miles underneath Montreal. So this is gonna put the gloves. It's not that cold today, but nonetheless, best if I do put the gloves, if I get a little bit on the hot side. Auctioning the gloves, auctioning the jacket, auctioning the pants, jeans, underwear. A million each item to give 50%. That's half to my anonymous friend who wasn't my friend because of the money. See, it goes up, there and there it goes down. So you're gonna see further away when I say, of course, that here I'm on the mountain already. Of course, it's a mountain system consisting of 3 peaks, right between the east and the west. Between the east and the west of the island of Metropolis, 2.5 million people, Metropolis Island of Montreal, aka Hawk Island. Right between the east and the west, we have the mountain system called Mount Royal, and here we're on Westmount. The other peak is Outremont and Westmount. I'm on Westmount now, the peak of the mountain, and the other one's Outremont, and the other one's Mount Royal. So it's right between the east and the west of the center, but slightly south, between the north and the south, you know. So it's quite something which is kind of like a beauty of the island, and you can see it for far off from the video yesterday. On that Sunday video, I showed it and I pointed it, but I was miles and kilometers away from where I am now yesterday, because I went south of my headquarters And now I'm actually lots of miles, lots of kilometers away from my dragon's lair. As you can see here, it still goes up, up, up. See, it goes up in slope, and there, see how it goes down, down, down. So I'm on a big, big, big mountain, which can be seen afar off. It's 3 peaks, Mount Royal proper, Ultramount, Westmount, you know. Got 3 peaks, and of course, gonna put a little bit of that glove, and gonna get on that, you know, a little bit of that rock and roll. I enter into trances. Rock and roll trances, as you know, I have Asperger's, HFA, and I have my holy trinity of special interest, also known as obsessive interest. And for me, it's geopolitics, the study, the analysis. Geopolitics 24/7. Sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport activity, and dancing is my favorite fitness activity. Dancing is my favorite sport. And of course, rock and roll with that, yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragon, who died during COVID. I'm beginning already to mark, I can say I'm already beginning to mark 5 years of me surviving COVID back in 2020. In mid-February, about mid-February or so, beginning of February, till about early March. I was very sick, ill, and disease, and I always say it was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. That's like a hardcore rock and roll song, metal trash, name of a band or of an album of hardcore metal trash or hardcore rock and roll, hardcore rock, you know. But nonetheless, that's how I felt. And I say, oh, I died during 2020. In 2020, February, March, I died, and nothing that I want to go back to, and celebrate every day, carpe diem, live to the fullest, and had some employments, had some jobs, had quite a few. But you know, with my neurological mental divergent condition, it's always a big effort, and it takes 50-50 for me as an individual with Asperger's to build bridges between the neurodivergent world of a tiny minority of less than 1%, less than 0.5%. They estimated that 0.44% of the population have Asperger's. So that's maybe 1 out of 300. 1 out of 300, maybe 1 out of 300, maybe less. You know, so it's always building bridges between us Aspies, us who are neurodivergent, and the neurotypical world. And it's bridging more understanding, and it has been very painful, very tough, you know, and suffered, struggled. And not only that, but of course I was depressed, suicidal, and cross Canada, coast to coast, cross Canada, coast to coast, cross Canada, coast to coast. And that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal in 2017 when I crossed Canada, coast to coast. That event completely changed my whole life. And I established since then. Crossing Canada, I had like an awakening and said, wow, so many things to see, to do here. The great, true North, strong and free, across Quebec, across Canada, across North American Collective, across the North American Civilisation complex. So I got out of depression. See, there's proof. You see, I goes down, down, down. How we are on the top of the mountain, see? We're actually can even go further up. So we're kind of a little bit like midpoint, because it still goes up. You can still go up on the mountain. It's a huge mountain system of 3 peaks. Westmount, Mount Royal proper, and Outremont, the whole complex, mountain complex is called Mount Royal. So see, those lights, it goes down. And you can see, you got to give a salutation to the Hydro-Quebec workers of the past, you know, and those present futures. That's how we got this beautiful light, so we can appreciate a little bit of the beauty of a day like this after a snowstorm, how the beautiful February evergreens and such a beauty. And it's kind of like maybe -1, -2, so it's something which I hope people will get out for a walk and appreciate such a beauty of nature as this beautiful tree here, inviting my American brothers and sisters to come. And not just because I was born in past lives incarnations as a man and as a woman. I even served twice in 2 different wars, U.S. Army post 7076. Just read George Patton's Through a Glass Darkly, one of the generals of the United States who wrote one of my favorite poems, including Through a Glass Darkly, which I think is read at West Point Academy, maybe not, at Kingston as well. It should be recommended. Rainbow Dragon, General Cuckold, General Dragon Cuckold here prescribing some marches, already marched more than the generals of NATO during COVID. Thousands of miles in this hawk out of Montreal, my home here in the past life and in this life. And so you can see how it goes down. Anyway, back to what I was saying, as I encourage you all to work out, train, exercise, and it is really my medicine and therapy of choice. And I'm always joyous whenever I go to the mountain, my second home, and my second home and my mistress. I say my second home and my mistress, the forest on the mountain, my second home and my mistress. And I'm pretty joyous, pretty content in the past years. You know, I survived a lot, lived a lot of trauma, and survived and have plenty of scars. But besides financial stress, you know, my only stress now is financial. And my only stress now is really financial. From what I could hear, there has been the rescinding of the 25%, or at least a delay. Last time I heard it, I hope by midnight, because I was planning to get back by maximum 6 hours march, between minimum 4 hours marching workout and maximum 6 hours for today. I scheduled it between 4 and 6, so probably it's going to be half, 50-50. In between 4 and 6 it's 5, so probably it's going to be 5 hours today, as usually that's what it is on the mountain. And I got to be careful a little bit for black guys. Look at that beauty. Isn't that just gorgeous? I don't know how it looks on the camera, but it's just so... I love snow, I love winter. I don't mind winter cold, you know. I'm 4 seasons, all terrain, you know. Quebecer, Canadian, North American, but look at that. Look at that beauty. Just the beautiful evergreen. Sometimes you just gotta admire how small I am, tiny, insignificant, you know. That's 7 times my size, a piece of dust that I am, you know. Just a nobody. I'm a nobody, don't worry about me. Send your best generals. Rainbow Dragon gonna go toe to toe. Marching 5 hours, let's go. Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance. Legions, friends with benefits only. Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance. Legions, friends with benefits only. Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance. Legions, friends with benefits only. Rock and roll. It's like going, that's beautiful also. See? Wow. That's also so beautiful there. Got so much snow on it, so I really enjoy it. You know, it's just, I always love to take walks like this to just admire the trees, you know. The snow on them kind of looks surreal a bit. It's just something which I really enjoy a lot, you know, so something which I really enjoy myself. Like these ones here. See? Just serene and perfect temperature, you know, just perfect temperature, just that perfect temperature. So sometimes you just gotta be with nature, you know. We gotta not be subordinate necessarily, but in concordium, in harmony, you know, to certain laws of nature and certain aspects of nature, and of course in harmony with civilization. That's what the DGA calling for the dancing goddess on. Look at that beauty. Whoa, and that one also. It's all nice. The Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, of course, to be for the North American Integrated Dance League, to be, of course, to dance for the environment and for pleasure and for purpose. And that's what I gotta be doing with that, and that's what I gotta be rock and rolling, you know. Now gonna go on the rock and roll side, you know, because I had enough of my face, I guess. You know, just gonna direct towards civilization and nature, and gonna say again my gratitude, you know, grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And so I meditate now for the truckers. Gotta give some sense of LOVE, you know, to the truckers on the road. So I hoping that by midnight, whenever I'm home, get back by midnight to see, of course, if the 25% was actually delayed, not annulled. The 25% tariffs was delayed, not annulled. I always thought it was a lose-lose situation. Lose-lose. And, you know, I was on the sidelines of politics. What got me into politics was exactly when Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, you know, because we're basically North Americans. And I don't know about that 51st state. I guess it's a discussion ongoing, you know, see how it would work. And it's an invitation. I guess it's an invitation, and you know, that's maybe one of the good things. Paradox, I'm going to discuss it more in depth because I did lots of meditations and scenarios as I do on the daily, you know, deep. I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and worthy and important to note that I have predicted the international conflagration occurring now in a general manner, a World War III scenario which I predicted back in October, November 2019, and I've been on a kind of World War III mode ever since 2019. Ever since 2019. Ever since 2019. So that stated, those facts aside, being that today is February 3rd and the tariffs were supposed to commence February 4th on midnight, a minute past midnight, because that's on the 4th. So that's what was the scheduling timeline about. 25% is a quarter of every dollar, so that would have been a significant disruption, and we try our best to avoid it. And like I said, I don't know about the 51st state. I do believe in the North American Union, the Republic, and my brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians. The king is absent. The king is absent. The king is absent. It's time for the Republic. It's time for the Republic. It's time for the Republic. You know, and joining as a state. I meditated deeply about it. Think about it. What if a Canadian president would be president in 2028? 2028. Maybe sign my executive orders to rebuild the North American urban inner cities, aka the ghettos, to tax 10%. The millionaires and billionaires tax 10%, millionaires, billionaires 10% taxes. I parallel to put only a 10% interest via my DRT theory, debt fusion theory, 10%. To have a social safety net, because freedom got to be insured. And of course, I understand it has to be coming from the will of somebody to rehabilitate. My own will had to be very great to survive what I survived. I always credited it to the goddess. My surviving to the goddess. To the goddess. I know Donald Trump's in assassination attempts. Could you credit it to the god? Well, I got a goddess it, you know. This time I'm gonna GODDESS it, as I will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple on the Canadian U.S. border. And the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and its North Americans Unite. And an executive order, you know, to raise the minimum wage would have been more propitious. To raise the minimum wage, you know. For the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. You know, the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. The North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. That would have been something of course, would have been propitious with it. You know. So that's something which you got to be mindful of, because we're not enemies. We're brothers and sisters. We're a big family, sometimes dysfunctional. And I'm a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. You know, I'm a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. I'm a pro-labor and love, you know, revolutionary centrist. And was the People's Doctor presented the thesis in 2023, which has been and is entitled The Privilege of Civilization. So civilization is a privilege, titled in 2023, The Privilege of Civilization, and it is. The aqueducts, the sewers, see how it goes down? Steep, steep, steep. See? Here we're at the top of the mountain. We're not exactly the highest point, but on Westmount we're kind of a midpoint, midsection kind of. It still goes up. You can see the mountain, how it goes up anyways. As I of course said, you know, there was definitely executive orders, and myself being a democratic Republican, my brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians, the king is absent. I've been challenging Donald Trump since 2018. Since he first imposed 10% on aluminum and steel. I have proof, because I made videos, tens of videos, dedicating to building the rink, which I wanted a rink for boxing, made out of Canadian aluminum and steel, made out of Canadian aluminum and steel, made out of joint Canadian United States aluminum and steel, because in 2018 the 10% tariffs were imposed on Canadian aluminum and steel. We need to create a common passport, Canada, US, even when Mexico, common passport, common passport, common passport, common passport, common passport, common currency, common passport, common currency, and a census, a great North American census, to see and assess linguistic capabilities, to see and assess and fingerprint, and assess and do a census of the population, everybody who's in here or who's been here since 2017. Let's say July 24, 2017, July 24, 2017, July 24, 2017. To do a census of the population, based on my CIT theory and the new 911 integrated protocols. Because we call 911 for security, service, and defense. And we gotta have some rebirth and second, third chances and rehabilitation as well, We gotta have some justice. It's not always easy to attain, It's not always easy to attain the individual and the collective. In the 21st century, North American Union, due to the geopolitical realities that we have potential enemies which are open to espionages, spy espionage and sabotages, espionage and sabotages, espionage and sabotages. It is possible. That's why we gotta get North American united. We gotta do a census. We gotta do a census. We gotta do a census. That's how we gotta get doing. Gotta salute. Gotta salute the public workers. The garbage collectors, thank you for picking up the garbage. For public sanitation workers, sending some LOV. Rock and roll, the recycling. I got those services in my neighborhood. It takes a public and a private partnership. My dream, of course, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership, a call for a public-private partnership, a call for a PPP. Public-private partnership, and of course to implement the CIT, citizen integration theory, the CIT, citizen integration theory, and the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, and the CIT. We gotta have a North American integrated complex for security, service, and defense. New North American integrated 911 protocols as a philosopher. My DRT theory as a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who says that I predicted what's happening now in the general manner, and North American Union is a geopolitical, from a strictly merely geopolitical perspective, even let's say as the 51st state, we're still gonna be Canadians, North Americans, Canadians, North Americans. Still got your back with LOV, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, as I have the back of my brothers and sisters in the USA. If there will be an invasion from the east and from the west, I'll be marching to defend, only for defense though. Defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball. Defense where my 49ers lost, give some charity, NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, give some charity. Millionaires, billionaires, Reduce the cost of the tickets, please. NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Donate some millions for the rebuilding of the North American inner urban cities, aka the North American ghettos. I would definitely donate. If I would be a billionaire, I would give some billions towards that. And I would, of course, make sure that the money goes, for the rebuilding, for the construction. I understand there's corruption and certain ideologies that the blah 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 is not enough, right? Theory and practice, because at the end of the day, money is to finance and money is a unit of exchange. That's why my debt refusion to you for the creation of the UE best, to enable us to do, look at this beauty. Beauty. And it's the construction workers, I gotta send some LOV, construction workers, mortgages, percentages aside, credit cards. We need the DRT, and it's the construction workers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the welders, electricians, the plumbers, those in the daycares who change so many diapers today across North America. I always say is a new protocol. Gotta put in a new protocol, before you put on a uniform. That's the Dragon Army directive. What we're not doing with any mercs. I don't want to do no business with no mercs. I want to do business with no mercs. And when Trump was asked whether he was going to use military force to annex Canada, make Canada 51st state right away, I'm glad, without hesitation, and I don't know, economic force. So I'm glad, because I was going to go guerrilla Operation Canadian Dracula. Guerrilla Operation Canadian Dracula. Guerrilla Operation Canadian Dracula. Was born in the US and I served in the United States Army in post 7076. Past lives incarnation, 2 different wars, 156 years apart, 2 different wars, 156 years apart, 2 different wars, 156 years apart. We're North Americans and Canadians, Team Canada for sure. You know, we got a North American civilizational collective. I'm hoping that, because that was the news before I left, that supposedly there was a pause on the tariffs for a month, and you know, as an aspie geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, that's what I do, you know. For hours and hours and hours I can spend, of course, hours and hours and hours just analyzing geopolitics, I spent hours and hours and hours just going on different news channels from Quebec, Canada, United States, Mexico, across the world, left, right, and center, and to assess, to direct, to revise my theories, my scenarios. And of course, so even today I realized I drank 2 cups of coffee. I paused because I did work, laundry day Monday for yours. Truly grateful, thankful for the laundry machine. My anonymous friend, if I make $1 million, I'll give it half, 50% tax. And gotta get it on that go. So that's what it is with that. And that's what we gotta get doing, you know. So it's always on the now and it's always on the go. So it's always something which we gotta be thinking about and implementing, and something which we gotta do, you know. Something which we gotta do, you know. So it's something which we gotta be thinking about in terms of the thoughts, you know, which we have. And sometimes, you know, we gotta just ensure the basics and then work towards the extras, you know. It's freedom, you know. Gotta be insured, you know. The individual and the collective. Now I'm in the public. I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. Look at those beautiful evergreens, so tall, so big, 7 times my size, you know. And if I would have had 44 billions, I would have taken 10%, when Trump got elected, and I would have went incognito. 10% of 44 billion would have been 4.4 million, 4 billion. A billion has 9 zeros, and I would have just distributed across North America 50,000 citizens. I would have whispered, here's your second chance, here's my redemption, take this 50,000, change your life, start over. Take this 50,000, change your life, start over. And that would have been, of course, the ideals and whatever would have done to be doing with that. So that's what it is, and that's how we gotta be doing, you know. It's always something which we gotta be mindful of. We are on the go, as we are on the now, and that's how we gotta be doing on the go, you know. So and I gotta be turning my head left or right, you know, as I go turn my head, because you never know, eh? Brakes malfunction. The citizen might press the accelerator instead of the brakes, the accelerator instead of the brakes, you know. The brakes malfunction, and that's what we gotta be doing. The brakes malfunction, so that's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. And that's what I gotta get doing for the X, for the white, for the black and the rainbow, you know. And if we are to fight racism, my black brothers and sisters, you know, I played black, white, and rainbow. Men, women, black men, you know. If you want to make some LOV with Rainbow Dragon and consent, you gotta be of age, 18 plus. I'm gonna card you like I'm a bodyguard of the club, you know. Ain't playing around, but black, white, and rainbow, you know. Being androgynous, pansexual, 50-50, and for racism, I put on the table what I got for everybody else, you know. Kisses, hugs, money I don't have, but sometimes, you know, we have certain discriminations ourselves, you know. It's in ourselves. Sometimes the fears, the hatreds, resentments, hidden lusts. It could be hidden lusts, and sometimes they're subconscious. We're not even fully aware. We might have a hint in dreams, or we're moved in a certain way, and certain dialogue, certain conversations which can have, or XYZ, because we are a very diverse Quebec or Canadian North American population, you know, so it's something which rather to take action, you know. We made it so far. We go hit it on the together like that harbor ball, aka blackout ball, harbor ball, aka blackout ball, the harbor ball. And I wish I could get my anonymous friend a house right here or somewhere else across Montreal, and gonna play it on the field. Or dancing is my favorite sport, and dancing is my favorite fitness activity. Now I'm busting a dance moves with my hands and my feet and my head, so as I go to the mountain, my second home. But nonetheless, we have certain things which are part of us, the individual. I don't claim to be such a higher self position, because I do have lust, I do have, you know, bodily, and the body is a pleasure for temple. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And you know, I wish I could afford a massage therapy session. I've been craving one for years, but I took a bath during the weekend, so I was sore from working out, because I live a very austere, severe, yet rainbow lifestyle. I live a very austere, severe, yet rainbow lifestyle. I live a very austere, severe, yet rainbow lifestyle, you know. So, and it's not all about logic, you know. Sometimes it's the emotional, irrational, because if we repress, we rather just channel things, you know. Channel, and repress. And personally, myself, I do not like violence, you know. I do not like violence. I don't like violence, but I am pretty intense and hyper vigilant, because my own survived trauma, being surprised attacked by surprise, being attacked by surprise, you know, being attacked by surprise. So that's what it is with that. And I give some LOV to the bus drivers, to the truckers, and you know, Wall Street, millionaires, finance the firefighters, finance the public workers, finance the nurses, finance them a massage therapy session, finance them a massage therapy session of North America, you know. The firefighters, the ambulance drivers, you know, the firefighters, LOV to the first responders, ambulance drivers, and those who pick up the garbage, the recycling, the sanitation. Please, millionaires, finance them a massage therapy session, sign an executive order, Mr. President, for the support of the public workers. It takes that 50-50. My dream is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. When I say support my dream is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. That's what my dream, the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across the North American Civilisation Collective to implement my holy trinity, the DRT, debt refusion theory, the democratic fusion theory, and of course the CIT, citizen integration theory, the DRT, which I'm going to discuss. I think I'm going to discuss it now as I ascend the mountain. I go up the mountain. Anybody want to finance? I go up and down these stairs 300 times with LOV 300 times. My second home, Mount Royal, here we are. We made it to the mountain. We made it to the mountain, and gotta watch my step. Anybody wants the wheels to, then I go up and down these stairs 300 times with LOVE, you know. LOVE, you know. LOVE with love and some that rock and roll. Gonna be a pleasure to do that rock and roll for XYZ, and that's what it is for that. That's what it is for here. As I enter rock and roll trances, you know, all the way to the TOP for that rock and roll. As we go, look at that. As I go now. Oh yeah, that's some workout. Woo. That's some workout. Gotta give a shout out again to Hydro-Quebec for the lights and the public workers, you know, so I get more secure here. So here we are, my second home, the Mount Royal. This is the Mount Royal peak. We were on, the other peak was Westmount, and another one's Outremont of the whole mountain complex system here, Mount Royal. And now I'm gonna discuss the DRT death refusion tree, but first again I'm gonna read some salutations, thinking about the firefighters, LOV to the nurses of North America, public workers of North America, the bus drivers, those in the food, flipping some cheeseburgers, some hamburgers. You know, we gotta get a whole North American integrated economy surrounding the principles, security, service, and defense, and joy, joy, joy. Security, service, and defense, or reverse, and joy, joy, joy. Security, service, defense, and joy, 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 you know. So super important. Somebody with a little dog there growled a little bit. And there we go. You know, it's a day like this, which is not that cold, and it's very mild. It's still now starting to snow again. If there's a snowstorm, I might have to interrupt, but nonetheless, we're going all the way to the top, all the way to the top, all the way to the top, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. So it's something which we'd here when I come, you know, it's like less illusions, you know, in nature, in the forest, in the dark. Sometimes I go at night, you know, and although I gotta check my optometrist because of the eyes, and in the blackness of the night for the past years, you know, especially during COVID, and coming here late nights, not all the time filming the sessions, not filming the sessions all the time, not filming the sessions all the time, but sometimes, you know, at night, late at night, weekends or weekdays, or winter, autumn, all seasons, summer, spring, you know, I've been something deep, sometimes deep atop, you know, the wilderness. It's less illusions, and you know, it's like more, not, it's a harmony with nature, you know. So some raw, and it's always, the air is also fresh, so it's always to reach that balance, you know, between civilization and nature. So I want to send some LOV to all those in the fast food joints now, flipping some cheeseburgers, some hamburgers, some pizzas, those doing those deliveries. Let's get the North American Collective Workers' Party going, the Democratic Republican Party for the pro-labor and love. North American Collective Workers' Party, the North American Collective Workers' Party, pro-labor and love, you know, the North American Workers' Party, North American the North American Collective Workers' Party, the North American Collective Workers' Party, North American NA, CWP and ACWP and ACWP and ACWP for the Democratic Republic, the dream. And so you got ski here, you can come ski. And of course we got public workers saluting the truckers, those who pick up the sanitation. Gotta be thinking about them, you know, a little bit. So here you can go and ski, you know. We got big evergreens there. See? Big. You know, big. There how it's big. And that's all we gotta go doing with that. So that's all we gotta get doing with that. And that's all we gotta get on the XYZ, you know. Look at that. That's what we gotta get doing, you know. So somebody wearing that red, and that's all we gotta get doing on the XXX and go down those steps. Look at beautiful evergreen. Sorry, so big, eh? So I gotta get that LOV, and that's what we gotta get doing on the XYZ. And that's what we gotta get doing now, you know. It's always something which we gotta be on the XXX. And that's all we gotta get on the doers, you know. Takes the doers and the thinkers and the plumbers and the electricians and, you know, those public workers. Thank you for gonna pick up the garbage, you know. So now I'm gonna discuss the DRT. Super important that I discuss the debt refusion theory now. DRT, debt refusion theory. Why do I say that it is the only solution? So I'm gonna make that statement again, as I have in the past, that my DRT theory, standing for the debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory, debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory. Oh yeah, well, that looks like fun, man. That looks like fun. Good for you. Just be safe, and the children and all ages here, you just gotta be safe, but you have plenty of lanes. And see there, they're skating. So this is fun. I always love coming here. So now the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE. So why do I make that statement? Of course, that the DRT theory is the only solution. The debt refusion theory is the only solution. The DRT theory, due to the fact, or something very similar to it. So my DRT theory standing for the initials representation, D for debt, R refusion, T for theory. That is the only solution, of course. That is the only solution for what it is, you know. So that is what it is. The DRT, due to the fact that we now pay. We paid in 2024 46.5 billion in interest. I'm gonna repeat that number. You can check with Tiff Mackler, the Bank of Canada. That is the amount which we paid on the public debt. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. Look at that beauty. Evergreen. 46.5 billion. That is the amount which we paid on the public debt. 46.5 billion. That's 46,000 million paid on the public debt in 2020, just the interest. Debt servicing means the interest only. Imagine. Okay, 3 years ago, in 2021, the number was 20.3 billion. That 20.3 billion in 2021, double. It's 40.6. So in 3 years, the interest only paid on the public debt has more than doubled. That's the principle. That's what happened. Financially, you can check with the Bank of Canada, Tiff Mackler, and Christian Freeland, whatever Minister of Finance, no more. Auntie Freeland, LOVE. You know, tough times. We gotta put some egos aside and focus on some solutions. And sometimes geopolitics. Gotta get that North American Union and the debt refusion theory. Paradoxically, my theory is the only solution, or something very similar to it, due to the fact that paying the interest on the public debt has doubled, more than doubled. So you can imagine, due to the fact that it has more than doubled, has of course this point in fact. It's of course the fact that it has doubled. The fact that it has doubled is the only solution. There's no other solution about it. There's no other solution about it. That is the only solution, right? There's no other solution. So that's what it is, and that's all we gotta get doing with that, you know, and that's all we gotta get on the go. That's all we gotta get doing. Yeah. So we gotta get it on the do, So that's all we gotta get doing on the do, So that's all we gotta do on the XYZ. So that's all we gotta get doing on the go, So it is what it is, So that's what it is. So the fact that we now pay 46.5 billion on the debt. 46.5. Can you imagine that number? This is a huge number, man. That is a huge number. Huge number. So huge that it's represented at 46,000 million. 46,000 million. 46,000 million, That is what it is. So it was 20.3 billion in 2020, 2021. Due to COVID, yes. Having COVID survived it, yes. Exactly. Due to COVID, there was programs implemented to salvage the economy and help the struggling population, of course, to survive, to survive in such a case, such a scenario, in such a case, such a scenario. That's what it was, in order for them to survive. That's what it is, in case for them to survive, a little bit of something. So 46.5 billion, that is the amount. That is the amount, of course, which we gotta be doing on that. So the DRT theory, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, that is the only solution which we gotta focus ourselves with. Debt refusion theory. DRT includes monetary integration theory. So my theory includes monetary integration theory, which is exactly the financial theory which they implemented in the European Union. The Germans, they destroyed their own central bank. The Italians, they destroyed their national central banks, the French also, and they annulled. They got rid of their all currencies. They annulled. They got rid of their all currencies, right? So they destroyed their all currencies. They destroyed their all currencies, They destroyed their all currencies in the European Union. In the European Union. In the European Union. In the European Union. That's what it is. In the European Union. That's what it is with that. So that's what it is, So it's something which we gotta be implemented, Be implemented with it, So something which we gotta be mindful of that, As the DRT theory. That refusion theory is the only solution for something similar. Again, the number is unsustainable and has doubled. The interest, the amount of interest paid on the public debt has doubled. Imagine, consequently, if as an individual citizen, your interest would have doubled, your interest would have doubled, your interest would have doubled that you paid, let's say in 2020, 2021, you would have paid, of course, let's say $156, and in 3 years the interest paid would have more than doubled to 333. Let's say I don't have credit cards myself. You see in my videos on my public finance, I'm in debt to about 10,000. I'm already in the red, but I'm good because I got food and coffee at home to last me for February. Coffee, I got some stashed away, everything for sanitation products and food. I got enough money, so I'm gonna be good for February because the most important bills for February are paid for me. Rent's paid, and electricity bills paid, So that's what we gotta be doing with that. So that's what it is, So that's what it is, So that's what we gotta get doing, So the DRT is the only solution. That's what we gotta be doing now. And something which, of course, is very similar to my DRT, which is the only solution. I just hope, man, somebody kissed today. There's still hope out here. Somebody kissed. There's still hope out here. Somebody holding hands, somebody kissing. I encourage that I encourage that activity. I'm an aspie, I'm neurodivergent, but I also like to matchmake, and I like to see people kissing and the signs of affection, signs of affection and people kissing, people kissing, which I just saw, and holding hands. So that's also worth, fighting for, not only Wall Street and being armed and playing that defense with lethal weapons, lethal weaponry, lethal force in the Dragonomic protocols to be used only and solely for defense purposes, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, the North American Collective, and all who come to join us, in the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom in the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom in the dream, and to implement my DRT theory because it's the only solution or something similar. So my DRT theory, imagine as an individual that your debt, interest payments that you have to pay on the credit cards would have went from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333. That means that you would have had to reduce, cut the budget, cut the Netflix, reduce maybe your internet connection from high speed to less, to pay less, or less bacon, less cheese, less whatever the case may be, less bacon, less champagne, less wine, less whatever the case may be, So that's what it is with us. So that would have been just the case for myself also. If the interest payments more than double, like it did for the public debt, is the same as the principal. Principal, of course, is the same as the principal on the private debt. I don't have credit cards. I pay 11% on my credit line, but nonetheless, the principal and the public is the same. The interest payments have more than doubled in 3 years. Obviously, there has to be a reduction. Obviously, with the public, of course, it would have been the same. Obviously, it would have been the same with the public, That would have happened the same, It would have been absolutely the same, So that's what it is with that. So it would have been the same protocols, the same implementation. That would have been exactly that. So that's what it is with that, Here at the top, the Belvedere Conjuring Act, where we gotta go for the LOV, So that's what it is with that, and that's what it is for the go. So it's XYZ, and sometimes we just gotta look at those flags. Oh, those are beautiful. Just love how the snow is on them, You gotta just look up, Wow, just amazing. Wow, that is really something. That is really something with that. So the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the U is the best again. The only theory. That's why now, where we are now, and please put some US flags there as well, US flags joined. Now that we have, of course, kind of salvaged the situation, and of course, put the dragon flag of the dragon, and that's all we gotta get doing. And the 7-pointed stars with it. And of course, here's the headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Here's the headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Here's the headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Here's the headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Here's the headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. And here we are atop the best Belvedere Conjuring Act, We gotta get it on the go, and that's why we gotta put some flag of the dragon right there. That's what we gotta do it. Flag of the dragon. So yeah, this is the Mount Royal, the Belvedere Conjuring Act. That is my favorite skyscraper there. Here we are. As we come here, rock and roll for the firefighters, LOV, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, all those, of course, plumbers, the electricians, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, all those, of course, who are on the go, and all those XYZs, who get now. Look at that beautiful pyramid, beautiful pyramid, That's how we gotta get doing with that. That's why we gotta get doing on that hydration, because it's super important to stay hydrated. And look at that. That's beautiful city. And that's what it is with that. That's what it is with XYZ, That's just how it is, Here we are. beautiful skyscraper. That is my favorite skyscraper. The pyramid. That's where we are now, and that's where it is now, and that's what it is, you know. So here we are atop the Belvedere Conjuring, you know. That's what it is with that. That's what it is with that, and that's what it is now, man. Here we are. See, look at that beautiful pyramid. That's what it is. That's what it is. The skyscraper's pyramid. Here the headquarters. Need to put some of those dragon flags in there, dragon flags in there, dragon flags in there. And that's what it is for that. And that's what it is, you know. Just rock and roll 24/7. And you're at the top of the mountain. Somebody came there with a bike. Didn't want to disturb, but I think somebody I met during COVID. I don't know. Maybe it looked like somebody I met during COVID, but when I was dancing, I think he came to see me, and a fellow member of the LGBTQ community. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. Sometimes I'm with my memory lost, you know, retrograde amnesia, and I've lost memory, you know, 7, 8, 9 years, and just remember mostly the past 7 years, you know, 7 years, 8, 9, moving and from all the place and survived COVID, and here I am, you know, with that rock and roll on the go. So that's what it is now, and that's where we are, you know. So here we are on the go. So gotta get it for now, and gotta get it for the doers, you know. Gotta get it for the DRT, you know. So that's what it is for the XYZ, and that's what it is for the now. So here I just feel good, you know, when I come here. Just a fresh breath of air with that, and fresh breath of air with that, and fresh breath of air with here, with that, left and right, and turn your heads, and you got a perfect type of a bit on the cool side, not that cool, but nonetheless, back to the DRT again is the only solution. Why did I make that statement? Of course, is to the fact that we now pay, of course, hundreds, thousands of billions, thousands of millions, 46.5 billion we paid on the public debt in 2024 last year. So that amount is a huge amount. So no way out of that, anywhere but close, but something very similar to my DRT theory, my debt refusion theory, which I'm now going to explain. So my DRT theory stands for debt refusion theory. So the DRT theory, debt refusion theory, or something similar, is the only solution. And again, think about it in terms of a private individual financial matter. If your finances, private finances, as an individual would have been, of course, as an individual, whatever the case may be, as an individual, for you, and let's say $156 you would have paid as interest on the credit cards, and then your interest payments would have been more than double, from 156 to 333, while the salary does not double. How many salaries have doubled? 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 Maybe increased by 5%, 10%, 15%, you know? Because there was a lot of strikes, there was a lot of labor movement, but salaries have mostly increased by 4% in the past 3.5 years, 5 years average, 4% average increase in the past 5 years from the last numbers I've seen. 4% in the past 5 years is not a lot. But this is what happened with the interest paid on the public debt. It has more than doubled. Yes, due to COVID, the programs had to borrow, lend, and do the financial schemes. But those financial implementation of those so-called schemes or financial tech has made it that there's no other way, or something similar to my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, paradoxically. Because just as an individual, if your payments on the credit cards have to doubled, in 3 years, while your salary stayed the same or only increased by 5, 10, let's say 15%, automatically you have to reduce your spending. Because you cannot keep spending. You cannot, it's not sustainable. You're going to have to declare bankruptcy, right? That's just how the financial capitalist system works. The financial capitalist system works. And now, for the 21st century, my DRT theory best. My debt refusion theory best. My debt refusion theory best. My DRT theory best. Debt refusion theory best. My DRT theory best. Debt refusion theory. DRT. Debt refusion theory best. DRT theory best. Debt refusion theory. DRT debt refusion theory best, you know. So that's how we're gonna go get it on that, you know. So that's how I gotta get on that DRT, and that's how we're gonna get doing on the LOVE side, you know. So it's XYZ, XYZ. So that's just financial mathematics. There's no other way out of this. Or something similar to my DRT theory, so which includes monetary integration theory. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, including my debt. I'm gonna explain now the DRT and how we're gonna implement it, because it has to be implemented. The theory has to be implemented. So we're gonna implement my DRT theory or something similar, because there's no other way. There's no way out of the most of the public and the financial matters. Canadian matters primarily, but also joint North American, I would say Canada, US joint binational, you know, like that NHL style. But so we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. We're gonna take all the public and the private debt. We're gonna take all the public and the private debt, you know, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. We're gonna refuse it. So all that money, all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000, we're gonna refuse it, you know. So we're gonna refuse it. All the debt, public and private, my $10,000 to the Royal Bank of Canada, yours coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all the public and the private debt of Canada, we're gonna convert all the public private debt of Canada into US dollars. Preferably Canada first, and Canada it has to be because of the public financial situation, which is a possibility for incoming public financial black swan event. Worst case scenario, public financial black swan event. You know, there's a possibility for a worst case scenario black swan event in Canada, due to again the fact that the interest payments, the interest paid has more than doubled in 3 years. It's a crisis. It's an emergency. You have to realize. So all the debt, public and private debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all that debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. 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 You know, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. So all that money converted into US dollars, that's gonna be converted into US dollars, and that money is gonna be, of course, all of it converted into US dollars, a huge number. All the public private debt of Canada implemented in Canada first, but preferably binational, like the establishment and the implementation and the establishment of the NHL, National Hockey League, NHL, National Hockey League, and the NBA, National Basketball Association, which are really binational, and the PVHL, Go Victoire, Go Victoire, Go, Professional Women's Hockey League. So establishing and implementing it binational. So all that. That's what I gotta get doing with that. So that's what we gotta get on that implementation. So all the debt, public and private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. All that money is gonna be the initial money supply for the creation of a new central bank. We're gonna create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar. A new North American central bank. We're gonna create the UE. U.Universal E.Exchange Unit. U.Universal E.Exchange U.Unit. The U.Universal E.Exchange U.Unit. The UE. The Universal Exchange Unit. That's what I'm calling on astrological brother Bill Gates, Scorpio, Joe Biden, Scorpio, Blackhawk, BlackRock, Blackstone, and the different financial institutions is Larry Fink, not a Scorpio, it could be Sagittarius's, Leo's, Pisces, whatever the case may be. But the debt fusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange rate, binational Canada, with all that money, we're going to be able to do lots of good. And this is going to be the new currency in circulation. Based on the value of the US dollar, we're going to freeze the prices. Freeze the prices of all goods, standardize the prices of all goods. We're going to rebuild the North American infrastructure. We're going to build more hydroelectric dams. 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 We're going to build 44 tunnels, build 44 tunnels. We're going to construct and build 44 tunnels. We're going to construct and build 44 tunnels. 44 tunnels. Across the North American Collective. Across the North American Collective. We're going to construct and build in case of a thermonuclear war for the defense and continuity of the North American Civilizational Collective Complex. In case of a thermonuclear war. 44 tunnels. So we're going to build those tunnels, rebuild the infrastructure, the bridges, and rebuild the North American inner urban cities, aka the North American ghettos. We're going to rebuild the North American ghettos. We're going to rebuild the North American ghettos on the Canadian-US border. We're going to build the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. We'll build the Forgotten Goddess Temple for the Dancing Goddess Army headquarters, the pyramid, scarlet, crimson, crimson, scarlet, scarlet, crimson, scarlet and crimson, scarlet and crimson, red, red, red. The pyramid, house of the dragon, house of the dragon, house of the dragon. That's how we gotta go, building with that. And that's how we gotta go on the love, you know. So that's how we gotta go implementing with that, because that's what we gotta go implementations, you know. So it's something which we gotta be doing, you know. That's what we gotta be doing on the go, you know. Something which we gotta be doing, you know, and implementing it and getting on the XYZ, and that's how we gotta get doing now, you know. So that's how we gotta get the DRT theory, the debt fusion theory. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. We gotta get doing, man. It's something which we gotta do. There's just no other way around it. You can argue all you want, and paradoxically, being an Ashby, being that my special focused interest is geopolitics, being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who spends a routine, daily routine, and ritualized routine with hours and hours a day of geopolitical revisions of the events, daily geopolitical events and revisions of the past events, and being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, well, you have to have some knowledge of public finance. So here it is with that, the public finance, you know. It is something which we have to be doing on the XYZ, and that's what it is with the public financial situation, you know. We gotta get on the public financial situation. And there it is, part of the lights. That's the other peak, other summit of the mountain. That's Outrama, see? Let's take a look. And that's north and east. Northeast, and that's a bit west. But that's, the camera points now to the other peak of the mountain. Outrama, you see? And how below is very low. We're actually high above, right? Because even all this is above, and it goes down, right? It all goes down. So this mountain can be seen far off. And that's the other peak, see? There you can see part of Westmount. That's part of Westmount. So it's three big peaks of the Mount Royal system. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Peaks of the whole mountain range system. So the DRT theory, my brothers and sisters. Pledge your allegiance, to our family, friends with benefits only, friends with benefits only. Pledge your allegiance. 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 Friends with benefits only. That's what it is with that, and That's what we gotta get doing, you know, and that's what we gotta get the implementation ASAP, because it's an emergency, of the debt refusion theory again, something very similar. But with the debt refusion theory and the creation of the UE, we're going to put an interest rate level of 10% thereafter. So after that, all loans will be capped. They will not be able to be put at more than 10%, not be able to be put at more than 10%, not to be able to be put at more than 10%, not able to be put at more than 10%. 10% maximum, it could be 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 1.56, 3.33, 6.1, 9.3, below 10%, whatever the case may be. By principle, below 10%. We're gonna be building more hydroelectric dams, here in Quebec, building more hydroelectric dams here in Quebec, you know, building more hydroelectric dams here in Quebec, La Belle Province, rebuilding the infrastructure of the collective, rebuilding the infrastructure of the collective, building hydro dams, mass financing citizens to work out, train, exercise, because working out, train, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice, you know. So that's why we just gotta do it. We just gotta implement the DRT. There's no other way around it. That is what it is. So that's just with a rock and roll on that, you know. We're gonna be able to do lots of good. Also, mass finance fitness. Create my World Cup program training system, which I created back in 2019 to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. The General War Integrated Total Body Training System. 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 See, there's the mountain. You can see closer now. What is the whole one mountain, but it's three-peaked mountain system, Mount Royal proper. Three-peaked mountain system, Mount Royal proper. Maybe the coming days we should go on the other peak, Outremont there, Outremont on the other peak. But nonetheless, here we are atop Mount Royal proper, and the other one is called, the peak is called Outremont, and the other one is Westmount. So that's all we gotta get doing with that, and it's something which maybe we should go check those trails, you know, in the coming week soon over there, you know. So that's all we gotta do, you know. So it is something which we gotta, it's a must, you know, it's a must. The DRT theory, you know, and paradoxically, my sufferings and struggles with employment, misunderstandings, and, you know, all that jazz due to Asperger's and being an HFA, high functioning autistic, and having a special interest, also known as obsessive interest, although I do not use the appellation obsessive myself, because obsessive has a more negative connotation, while special interest is the more proper way, because that's Aspies can super excel at those theories, super excel at those things which make us really good, which we have a special interest in. And my holy trinity is geopolitics 24/7, geopolitics, sports, fitness, dancing is my favorite sport, dancing is my favorite sport, dancing is my favorite sport, and of course rock and roll. That's my holy trinity. That's my holy trinity, rock and roll with that. My holy trinity, rock and roll, dancing, fitness, sports, and rock and roll, dance, fitness, sports and fitness, dancing, and geopolitics. That's my holy trinity, and that's what I do on the daily, involved in any of those activities for hours and hours and days, for years and years and years, with a kind of routine. But I don't mind. I'm not that inflexible. I can be flexible in routine sometimes. I don't mind change that much, especially economic, financial, commercial, and having a bigger space. Although I'm grateful for what I have now. It's way better than I used to live. And with RA, retrograde amnesia, having memory loss, I remember moving from a moldy place, and having moved from a moldy place, you know, that's what it is. And who knows what caused maybe trauma. And it was was attacked by surprise, hit my head, and had a dislocated right arm, and had my own Cillian pirate episode, you know, had my own Cillian Pirate episode. I had my own Cillian Pirate episode, so that's what it is with that, so it's something which we gotta do, so look at that beauty, and something which we gotta be doing with that, so something which we gotta be mindful of, and that is something which is not really that important. What's more important, I guess, is the past 7+ years crossing Canada coast to coast, coming out of being depressed, being suicidal, getting hit by COVID, February 2020, March, getting hit by COVID, February 2020, survived that, thought I was going to die. In many ways I did die. Nothing that I want to go back to, nothing that I want to go back to, getting on that triple vaxxed. I always carry my disinfectant. Public hygiene is important, so in fitness, encouraging all fitness, I lost between 80 and 93 pounds. Created paradoxically a simple, effective, and efficient workout training program system which has more complex theory behind it, but it's a simplistic workout training program system which increases overall fitness, which increases overall fitness, which increases overall fitness, which increases overall fitness, increases overall fitness, which increases overall fitness, so that's just what it is. And the general or integrated total body training system, aka the Dragonomy workout, is a simple, effective workout training program system which I've created back in 2019 to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario, which the aforementioned I performed more than 372 sessions thereof. And again, it's a simple, effective program system that is also increases general overall fitness. It's not meant for aesthetics necessarily, but when my combined fitness journey, and I have performed more than 372 sessions, I turned my A into a no, I turned my A into a no, I turned my A into a no, I did turn my A into a no, so that's what it is with that, and that's what it is, so I gotta be doing that, and gotta be rock and rolling here in the woods, meditating on the fact that when I get back home, from what I last heard, there was going to be a delay for both Mexico and Canada. Mexico I knew since about 3 o'clock p.m., but Canada wasn't sure. So that's what I had doing. With that. So it's something which I gotta be mindful of. As of course, I am myself here, and always grateful, thankful, although financially stressed, is something which I joy coming here. My mistress, my second home on the mountain. I gotta get that big feet in the snow. Oh yeah, see all the black there? Hello, Black Earth! Oh wow, that's because it's so hot. It was so hot today, so kinda just gotta be careful. Although I do not recommend people you take this route, because here, I know the mountain and from this life, and I lived on the mountain a few times, past incarnations, past life. Sometimes was born a man or woman, you get that 50-50. Adrian Hanna Dragon, keep my name out of your mouth. If it's not for a blessing, otherwise let it be pestilence. Hope we have an understanding. My holy sacred name out of your mouth. If it's not for a blessing, Adrian Hanna Dragon, otherwise let it be pestilence. Hope we have an understanding. Get my holy name out of your mouth, Adrian Hanna Dragon. If it's not for a blessing, otherwise let it be pestilence. Rock and roll for the DRT, death fusion theory. The best theory, the only theory or something similar. With that money, we're going to be able to rebuild the North American collective infrastructure, the bridges. We're going to be able to build more hydroelectric dams. We're going to be able to mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance tourism, because I written a document paper, of course, for the implementation and the protocols to mass finance and implement protocols for the mass financing of tourism across the North American Civilisation Collective, because it did me lots of good. And Canada joined US, public-private partnership, pledge your allegiance, friends with benefits only to our family. Pledge with benefit, Friends with benefits only, pledge your allegiance to our family. Friends with benefits only, pledge your allegiance to our family. I've written a document called the Initiative for the Public-Private Partnership Citizen Integrated Initiative for the North American Tourism Initiative for General Overall Wellness and Rehabilitation of the Citizenry. A long fancy title, the document right after I come out of my depression in 2017. That's when I wrote it down, and that's when, of course, now I'm calling the implementation via my DRT theory. We're going to be able to mass finance many things, and I just gotta, is that an animal? Is that an animal? What is that, an animal? What is that? That's an animal. Oh, maybe a fox. Hey, laying traps. I got some backup, got some ghosts. Got a ghost and got some archangels. Got a fox and got some angels. Now I go into rock and roll trance, but nonetheless, and if I do go into the rock and roll trance, I just want to give some salutations again to my anonymous friend and all my willingly loving allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Dragon Army. Rainbow Dragon, aka General Cuckold. Limb Dick, Clit Dick, General Limb Dick. General Clit Dick. Androgynous little scar. Rainbow Dragon, march more than the generals of NATO during COVID, and gotta get it on that XYZ, gotta get it on the now, and that's what we gotta get doing on that. So it's XYZ, and sometimes we just gotta be doing, in the mountain, and here we keep on going, and on the XYZ, so that's what we gotta go doing, and this XYZ, and that's what we gotta get on the LOVE. Oh, I gotta put my belt back on, because I got a bit on the go, so I gotta tie my belt again. Oh yeah, that's what we got on the belt. Give it 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Sometimes when I come down from there, that's steep. It goes down like steep as you can see it. It goes down steep like that, and that's what they're gonna go doing on the steep like that, and that's what we're gonna get doing, So XYZ, we gotta go anti-love, LOV, but the belt kind of got crisscrossed. Not just the belt now, but the laces. So I'm gonna tie my laces here. Gonna see, and gotta go back to business, because overtime every time. I gotta tie my shoes, the laces gotta XYZ. For the left and for the right, for the west and for the side, for the left and right and B, for the harmony you see, for the harmony you see, for the harmony you D, for those lovers, and the butchers and the bakers, and the nurses and the doctors, truckers and the firefighters, truckers and the firefighters, truckers and the firefighters, truckers and the firefighters. Gotta give me some spiders, gotta give me some spiders. Gotta XYZ, gotta XYZ blow, gotta XYZ, for the love, for the X and Y the dues, for the X and Y the dues. That DRT is the only solution, as you see. Now we're gonna switch to that French, because we here in La Belle Province ready to rock and roll DRT. Et voilà, on est déjà rendu de la montagne québécoise, et puis je vois du monde qui s'amuse. Je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique, j'adore venir ici, ma deuxième maison sur le Mont-Royal. Le Mont-Royal, c'est ma deuxième maison. C'est ma deuxième maison. Le Mont-Royal, c'est ma maîtresse, votre dragon arc-en-ciel, 50-50, monsieur, madame. Votre aspiratrice, athlète, philosophe qui danse le plus de la belle province. puis qui vous chante bien du rock'n'roll, je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique. Et puis avant de partir, je viens d'entendre qu'il y aura peut-être, il y aura pas de tarif de 25%. À minuit ce soir, on est censé d'avoir le 25% de tarif sur tous les biens cette fois-ci. Puis vous savez que j'ai commencé à challenger Donald Trump, bien sûr, à challenger bien sûr Donald Trump sur à faire appel à Donald Trump qui m'a combattre sur un combat de boxe sur la frontière Canada-États-Unis, Canada-États-Unis, bien sûr, la frontière Canada-États-Unis, bien sûr, sur la frontière Canada-États-Unis, depuis 2018, quand il a été imposé, bien sûr, 10% de tarifs sur l'aluminium puis l'acier en 2018. En 2018, bien sûr, en 2018, il a imposé les tarifs, bien sûr, il a fait l'imposition des tarifs de 2018 sur l'aluminium puis l'acier, bien sûr, puis c'est des choses qu'il a imposé comme tarif en 2018 sur l'aluminium puis l'acier seulement, puis bien sûr, c'est des choses que moi-même, c'est avant ça, je suis pas vraiment rentré dans la politique avant ce moment-là. Juste avant ce moment-là, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire, puis j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte en 2017, de 2017, en même temps, bien sûr. En même temps, bien sûr. C'est bien sûr. Et voilà. Et voilà. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse, bien sûr, en regardant que en géopolitique, bien sûr. Puis comme je disais, moi avant ça, j'étais en dépression suicidaire. Puis en 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Puis cet événement-là, ça a vraiment changé ma vie. Avant ça, j'étais en dépression puis suicidaire. Puis avant ça, j'étais en dépression puis suicidaire. Puis en 2017, en traversant le Canada, j'ai eu comme un réveil. Je me suis dit, waouh, tellement de choses à faire, à voir ce beau pays, l'Amérique du Nord, au Québec, au Canada. Fait que j'ai eu comme un réveil. Puis j'ai arrêté d'être en dépression, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Un esprit de corps solide. Vous êtes de ma famille, tu sais, Québécois, Québécoises, Canadiens de côte à côte, les Nord-Américains aussi, veux pas. Puis depuis ce temps-là, bien sûr, je fais l'entraînement physique. Commencé à m'entraîner, j'ai perdu 80, entre 80 et 93 livres. J'ai perdu, bien sûr, entre 80 et 93 livres, entre 80 et 93 livres moi-même. Puis c'est des choses, bien sûr, que je fais l'entraînement physique. Puis j'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement physique, bien sûr. Puis j'ai même, bien sûr, fait, bien sûr, mon propre système d'entraînement physique. Puis j'ai prévu la situation géopolitique. J'ai prévu comme une troisième guerre mondiale qui se déroule en ce moment. Parallèlement à la situation géopolitique qui se passe en ce moment, j'ai prévu une conflagration internationale en 2019. Parce que vous savez, je suis moi-même un analyste intéressé en géopolitique, un artiste, un athlète, un philosophe, ainsi bien sûr. Fait qu'en tant que en tant que j'ai l'Asperger, j'ai l'autisme monofonctionnel, bien sûr. C'est des choses, bien sûr, que moi-même, il faut que je fasse, bien sûr, de l'entraînement physique. Constamment, la danse est mon sport préféré. La danse est mon entraînement physique préféré, bien sûr. Puis c'est bien sûr aussi le rock'n'roll avec la géopolitique. Bien sûr, c'est des choses qu'il faut que je fasse, bien sûr. C'est l'entraînement physique. Parallèlement, bien sûr, à toutes les choses qui se passent dans le monde, j'avais prévu une situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment. J'ai prévu la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment, bien sûr. J'ai prévu la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment d'une manière générale, généralement parlant, d'une manière générale, pas d'une manière à chaque détail, mais d'une manière générale, là, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. Fait que j'ai créé un entraînement physique pour y aller justement avec un mode comme une troisième guerre mondiale, dans le cas où on devrait mobiliser une population. Puis bien sûr, c'est ça qui arrive les dernières années. On a vu avec la crise en Russie, puis l'Ukraine en Europe, puis la crise bien sûr au Moyen-Orient, puis une potentielle crises avec la République de la Chine, qui est le Taïwan, puis la République populaire de la Chine, parce que c'était des conflits qui n'ont pas résolu du 20e siècle. Fait justement, ça c'est un des dénominateurs communs que j'avais fait, bien sûr, dans ce sens de dénominateur commun, que j'avais fait, bien sûr, cette analyse, puis je suis arrivé à la conclusion que dû au fait qu'il y a bien des régions, bien des nations, bien des pays, bien des civilisations qui n'ont pas fait, bien sûr, qui n'ont pas réglé leur compte du 20e siècle, j'avais prévu, bien sûr, qu'il y aura une conflagration internationale, une troisième guerre mondiale. Passer sur plus de détails, des analyses en profondeur, mais d'une manière générale, c'était pas mal ça, le dénominateur commun. Donc, le dénominateur commun, c'était ça, qu'ils n'avaient pas réglé leur compte du 20e siècle. Puis c'est ça qui arrive en Europe, hein, au Moyen-Orient, puis potentiellement, là, chez nous, Taïwan, comme ici, je dis toujours, dans le grand collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. En Amérique du Nord, on a fait le grand compromis linguistique. Le grand compromis linguistique au Québec pour avoir la continuité de la civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, parce que les Québécois, les Canadiens, ensemble avec les États-Unis, veut pas, on a un destin commun, puis tous ceux qui viennent nous rejoindre, tu sais, puis toutes ces choses-là, fait que dans ces choses de l'Amérique du Nord, en tant que Nord-Américain, bien, en tant que bien sûr, en tant que Nord-Américain, là, on a notre réalité géopolitique en tant que Québécois, Canadien-Québécois, plutôt Nord-Américain aussi. Notre intérêt principal, c'est d'avoir les meilleures relations possibles de toute manière, en sécurité, en économie, en finance, en sport, en culture avec les États-Unis, parce que notre réalité géopolitique et géographique, ça fait ça, hein, c'est la réalité géopolitique et géographique. peu ça, puis culturel, puis historique aussi. C'est pas juste une fait de la géographie seulement, mais la culture, l'histoire, le développement de l'Amérique du Nord en tant que collectif émergent nouveau. On était nouveau. Et là, je vois parce que je suis un philosophe aussi. Vous savez que je commence à déborder. Je peux parler pendant des heures, puis donner des détails, puis des choses, parce que c'est ça que je suis. Je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant, un philosophe artiste avec l'Asperger. Ça fait que des fois, je peux en parler pendant des heures parce que c'est ça que je fais au quotidien, des analyses en géopolitique, des théories en géopolitique, de la philosophie. Mais en tant que Nord-Américain, Québécois, Canadien, Nord-Américain, moi personnellement, mais c'est chez nous ici, je me considère pas un membre d'une diaspora, mais je suis Québécois, Canadien, Nord-Américain, pas mal rock'n'roll, en tant qu'individu aussi, parce qu'il faut toujours avoir la liberté de l'individu avec le collectif, la liberté de l'individu avec le collectif, la liberté de l'individu avec le collectif, puis aussi la sécurité de l'individu, puis la sécurité du collectif. C'est toujours les deux. La liberté, la sécurité de l'individu, puis la liberté et la sécurité du collectif, puis la prospérité aussi, puis bien sûr, je pourrais en rajouter après ça. La joie, le bonheur, l'entendre, toutes ça, des choses plus psychologiques, là, mais psychosociales, mais si on veut, psychosociales, mais au point de vue de ça, en tant que moi-même, mes souffrances avec la neurodivergence, je sais que je suis bizarre, je sais que je suis différent, c'est tout, je suis différent. Mais, j'ai la volonté de bâtir des ponts, envers avec les neurotypiques avec les neurotypiques. Mais ça me sert à rien parce que des fois, les Aspergers comme moi-même, on semble être trop direct, on semble peut-être être direct, on semble peut-être être direct dans le sens d'offenser, dans le sens de direct, d'offenser ou des choses comme ça, mais d'être direct en tant qu'offensé, mais puis des choses comme ça qu'on a moins, on a de la misère. Je suis moi-même pas si bon, comme ça, moyen, médiocre dans certaines choses comme les interactions sociales, tu sais, toutes ces choses-là. Ici, je vais juste... Mais j'ai quand même, en géopolitique, c'est mon royaume, c'est mon domaine. Ça, c'est toute la montagne, vous voyez? Ça, c'est les 3 sommets. On est ici, ça, c'est le Mont-Royal, ça, c'est Outremont, puis ça, c'est Westmount. Les trois sommets du système de montagne du Mont-Royal. Mais bon, puis en plus, là, je veux discuter parce que, je vais dire ma gratitude, là. La gratitude, j'ai payé mon loyer. j'ai payé mon loyer le mois de février. Le 1er février, on est le 3 février. Donc, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café chez nous, j'ai de la nourriture, j'ai un couple de bonbons. Fait que j'ai tout ce qu'il me faut. J'ai payé l'électricité en premier, l'Hydro-Québec, merci. Je vous chante pour vous construire, baptiser d'autres centrales. Là. C'est à cause de ça qu'on a l'électricité. Puis bien sûr, j'ai produit ma thèse en tant que docteur du peuple en 2023. J'ai présenté le privilège de la civilisation. Le privilège de la civilisation. Le privilège de la civilisation. Ou le privilège de la civilisation en tant que la civilisation est un privilège. Le privilège de la civilisation. Parce que c'est un privilège de la civilisation. Tout avoir l'électricité, tout ce qu'on a, bien sûr, c'est un gros privilège. C'est un gros privilège. Maintenant, je descends de la montagne, je me dirige vers chez nous. C'est un beau bâtiment, ça, je trouve. J'aimerais ça qu'il soit un peu de la couleur, mais je sais pas si ça me fait penser un peu quelque chose de, je sais pas, vampiresque, un peu vampire, un peu, tu sais, nocturne, ou qu'il y a des vampires. Il y a un film, je pense, ça me fait penser à Carmina. C'est un film québécois, hein? Carmina 1, Carmina 2, c'est un film. C'est un beau film, là, quand même. En tout cas, pas pourquoi, mais. Ah, y a-tu été filmé là-dedans, peut-être? Peut-être, pour ça, mais ça se fait. Ah, là, il faudrait que je regarde, là. C'est possible qu'il ait été filmé dans ça, c'est pour ça. Il y a une scène dans le film que ça montre ce bâtiment dans le film Carmina, puis c'est peut-être pour ça, des mémoires. Mais mes mémoires sont. Comme je dis, j'ai la perte de mémoire, je m'en souviens plus. De 7, 8, 9 ans, puis j'ai de la misère à accéder des mémoires. J'ai de la misère à accéder des mémoires de ma jeunesse, de mon enfance, de mon adolescence. J'ai eu. C'est comme un blackout, là. C'est comme un. J'ai une perte de mémoire, là, de. Juste un. Je sais pas, c'est difficile à. C'est comme un blackout, c'est. J'ai de la misère, là. En tout cas, l'amnésie, c'est comme une sorte d'amnésie, là, c'est pas vraiment important. L'important, c'est aujourd'hui, puis l'espoir pour demain. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, je vous l'explique maintenant parce que c'est super important. D'où quand je suis en tant que mon travail, en tant qu'analyste indépendant en géopolitique, et en tant pour l'Union de l'Amérique du Nord, parce que je suis pour l'Amérique du Nord, mais je suis québécois, canadien, québécois, nord-américain aussi. Je soutiens pas Trump. Hein. Depuis 2018, je fais appel pour qu'il me combat dans un combat de boxe. C'est là que je suis rentré vraiment dans la politique, quand Trump a imposé des tarifs sur l'aluminium et l'acier québécois, canadien, québécois, de 10%. Puis là, il voulait imposer 25% sur tous les biens. Ça aurait été quand même, il faut l'admettre, ça aurait été très difficile. Parce que, veut pas, on exporte l'exportation, 80% de tout qu'est-ce qu'on exporte fait 4$ sur 5, 8$ sur 10, 80$ sur 100$. Sur chaque dollar, 100$ sur chaque brun, il y en a 4,20, comment on dit, 4 verres. 80, tu sais, c'est beaucoup, là. C'est 4$ sur 5, 8$ sur 10, 90, 80 sur 100$ là, qu'on exporte aux États-Unis de toute l'exportation. C'est 90% là, de tout ce que le Québec, Canada, Québec, on exporte aux États-Unis. On exporte dans le monde, notre exportation totale, les exports, tous les exports, c'est 80%. Là. Ça, c'est 4/5 là, en fraction, c'est 8$ sur 10. Là. C'est 4$ sur 5 là, qu'on exporte aux États-Unis. Fait que 25%, ça aurait été difficile. C'est un quart, ça. Un quart, c'est beaucoup, 25 cents sur chaque dollar. C'est 2$ et 50 cents sur chaque 10. C'est 25$ sur chaque 100$. C'est 25%, c'est pas 5%, c'est pas 10%. Là. C'est beaucoup, là. Ça aurait été un désastre quand même, là, 25% des tarifs. Là. Fait que j'ai entendu qu'il y a une résolution. J'espère, c'est ça les dernières nouvelles. J'ai envisagé un minimum 4 heures de marche, entraînement, danse aujourd'hui. Maximum 6, donc c'est sûrement ça va se rendre quelque part entre 4 et 6. Ça va être peut-être 5. Ça va être minimum 4, maximum 6 pour lundi, parce que c'est ça que je fais, l'entraînement, mais ça fait partie de ma routine, hein, parce que j'ai mes intérêts spéciaux, qu'on appelle aussi les intérêts obsessifs, en tant que je vis avec une condition de neurodivergence d'Asperger, puis je dois toujours faire du travail pour bâtir les ponts, mais j'ai la volonté pour bâtir ces ponts avec les neurotypiques. Puis je suis quand même intense dans certaines choses. Je sais que les aspects, quand on est dans notre... Qu'est-ce qu'on est super concentré dedans. Et merci les travailleurs publics pour avoir fait du bon déneigement ici. Comme moi-même, c'est la géopolitique. Je peux en passer, je passe tous les jours. Des fois, aujourd'hui, je faisais le lavage. Je viens de réaliser, j'ai bu 2 cafés, j'ai fait 2 lavages. Avec, merci, j'apprécie, gratitude pour la sécheuse, puis la laveuse, gratitude pour la laveuse, puis pour la sécheuse. À mon ami anonyme, si je fais la million, je donne la moitié, soit 50% si je fais 1 million, là, à mon ami anonyme. Puis que c'est des choses que moi-même, il faut que je sois conscient de ces choses-là. Tu sais, parce que c'est tout un privilège d'avoir ces choses-là, la gratitude, là. C'est la géopolitique. J'en passe des heures. Puis des fois, je passe, puis je sais qu'en devant, puis après, je me rends compte que je viens de passer 5 heures en buvant du café. Puis sans me rendre compte, j'étais tellement dedans à faire des analyses, à regarder des différentes chaînes de télévision du Québec, du Canada, des États-Unis, de l'Amérique du Nord fondamentalement le plus, mais aussi du Mexique, de l'Europe, d'ailleurs, dans le monde, pour voir qu'est-ce qu'ils disent de la gauche, la droite ou centre. La gauche, la droite, tout ça. Moi, je suis centriste pro-révolutionnaire. Mon centrisme révolutionnaire, il est fondamentalement lié avec mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Par l'implémentation et de ma trinité de théorie, la théorie d'intégration de la dette, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, puis la théorie de la fusion démocratique. Cette trinité de théories qui sont implémentées par la 4e dimension, l'amour. Fait que là que je suis dessus, je vais juste finir de dire, bien sûr, que c'est ça que je suis moi-même, un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant, un artiste, un athlète, philosophe et mystique, avec une spiritualité quand même rock'n'roll. Spiritualité quand même rock'n'roll, mais j'y crois à la réincarnation, tu sais. C'est des choses de réincarnation, puis des fois j'étais né homme-femme, hein? Des fois homme, des fois femme, maintenant, mais vous avez messieurs, madame, 50-50. Messieurs, madame, 50-50. Messieurs, madame, 50-50, puis ben oubliez ça maintenant, que je sois androgène, que je suis androgène pansexuel, que je fasse partie de la communauté LGBTQ. Maintenant, il faut que vous oubliez ça, puis juste la solution que je vous en discute maintenant, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, que je vais vous discuter maintenant, tant que juste peser sur le piton. Oh, ça marche pas. Puis juste attacher mes lacets encore une fois. Et voilà. Bon. Là, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Je vous l'explique, c'est super important. Et je vais vous dire, bien sûr, que c'est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sauver en ce moment, où qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques. Pourquoi je me prononce ainsi? Puis c'est un paradoxe parce que ça sort, bien sûr, de ma souffrance, puis ayant souffert avec cette condition de neurodivergence, malédiction qui est l'Asperger's, mais ça a bien sorti une bénédiction, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, parce que mes intérêts, l'intérêt spéciaux que j'ai moi-même, c'est la géopolitique. Donc, en étudiant la géopolitique, on doit connaître un peu des finances publiques. Et cette connaissance des finances publiques, ça vient bien sûr avec les analyses en géopolitique. On a payé sur l'intérêt de la... Juste l'intérêt sur la dette publique canadienne qu'on a payé en 2024, c'était 46,5 milliards. Je vais répéter, encore une fois, c'est pour ça que je dis, puis je me prononce que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, est la seule et unique solution en ce moment, là, où on est rendu avec les finances publiques, c'est qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. Imaginez-vous, là, c'est 1 milliard, là, 1 milliard 109 zéros, 109 zéros, 1 milliard 109 zéros, 1 milliard 109 zéros. Fait 1 milliard 109 zéros, 1 milliard 109 zéros. Fait que ça, là, c'est un chiffre énorme. En 2024, 46,5 milliards. 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 C'est 46,5 milliards. Bon, ça c'est 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. 46 000 millions, là. C'est ça le chiffre, 46 000 millions, tu sais. C'est 46 000 millions, c'est un gros chiffre, ça, là. Un chiffre énorme. Puis le fait que l'intérêt, c'est juste l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique. C'est juste l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique. C'est rendu en 2020-2021 qu'on paye 20,3 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. 20,3 milliards. OK? C'est à cause de la COVID, puis j'ai survécu la COVID, là. J'étais malade. Là. J'étais vraiment malade moi-même. Je pensais que j'allais mourir. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'est comme ça que je me suis ressenti moi-même, tu sais. Mais je l'ai survécu, mais je dis souvent, je suis mort durant la COVID dans ma grotte. Je suis mort dans ma grotte en 2020-2021. Je suis en train de renaître. Il n'y a rien que je veux retourner en arrière. Je pensais vraiment que j'allais mourir. Là. Je pensais, c'est fini, je suis mort. Je suis mort d'une manière quand même. Rien que je veux retourner en arrière. Je vis pour aujourd'hui avec l'espoir pour demain. Puis des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Prêter allégeance les jours. Vous êtes famille, des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. Des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. Puis, that's it, that's all. Puis, c'est ça, bien sûr, pour l'affaire. Puis, maintenant, bien sûr, la TRD, c'est un paradoxe, mais c'est la solution. Parce que l'intérêt qu'on paye seulement sur la dette publique, puis vous pouvez faire la vérification, et c'est vraiment beau, ça. Regardez comment c'est beau, hein? Et d'une beauté exceptionnelle avec les glaçons, là, comment ils sont gros en haut. Puis, et c'est vraiment, vraiment beau, ça, ici. Comme un conte de fées là, surréel, un peu quasi mystique, là. Quasi mystique. C'est peut-être la maison du diable, là, qui ont fait le pacte avec le diable, les coureurs de bois, c'était quoi? Les coureurs de bois dans le folklore. Ça me fait penser à ça un peu. Faudrait que je regarde, je sais pas exactement, je me souviens pas exactement de l'histoire, mais c'est quand même beau, je trouve. Ouais, c'est une belle maison, blanche quand même, je trouve. Il y a les glaçons quand même. Je sais pas. Ouais, elle est belle. En arrière aussi, là. Avec les glaçons, je trouve ça beau. Moi, je trouve ça beau, en tout cas. Bon, en tout cas. Fait que... encore une fois, le montant, l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, ça a plus que doublé, L'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, ça a plus que doublé, c'est plus que le double. Imaginez-vous, ben c'est plus que le double, tu sais. C'est plus que le double, tu sais. C'est plus que double, tu sais. C'est plus que double, là. C'est plus que double. Plus que double. Parce qu'en 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards. Double, ça aurait été 40,6. Vous pouvez vérifier avec la Banque du Canada, avec Tiff Macler, le gouverneur de la Banque du Canada, c'est Tiff Macler. Vous pouvez vérifier ces chiffres-là. Je ne vous compte pas les niaiseries, là, je vous niaise pas, c'est des chiffres officiels. Là. Imaginez-vous, là, 20,3 milliards à 46 points, juste l'intérêt qu'on paye. Fait qu'imaginez-vous, là, en tant que citoyen consommateur, que moi ou vous ou quelqu'un d'autre, mettons, je sais pas, même le premier ministre, il y a des cartes de crédit, moi j'en ai pas, j'ai une ligne de crédit à la Banque Royale. Fait que si ça va de 156, mettons, que vous aurez payé d'intérêt sur vos cartes de crédit en 2020-2021, si ça va en 3 ans, mettons, ça saute, ça double, c'est plus que double, de 156 $ à 333 $ et sans que le salaire ne double. Si l'intérêt que vous payez sur votre dette double, puis le salaire ne double pas, ou augmente juste de 5 ou 10 ou 15 %, ben c'est ça qui est arrivé avec l'intérêt qu'on paye sur les finances publiques canadiennes. Puis parallèlement, les principes financiers mathématiques, c'est la même chose, le principe. Le principe, c'est que l'intérêt a doublé. Fait que si ça avait passé avec un individu aussi, là, puis sans que le salaire double, parce que l'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé. Là. Le produit intérieur brut, l'économie du Canada n'a pas doublé. Ça a juste augmenté 2. Des fois, ça va dans le négatif même. Je pense que c'est allé dans le négatif. L'année passée, en novembre, je pense que les chiffres sont venus, puis c'était dans le négatif. Une décroissance qu'on appelle. Pas une croissance économique, une décroissance économique. C'est une décroissance à la place d'une croissance. C'est qu'on veut, qu'on souhaite, c'est plus une croissance, tu sais. Fait que moi-même, maintenant, mon seul stress étant les finances, mais quand même, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité à l'Hydro-Québec. Pour le mois de février, je suis correct. Pour le mois de février, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai du café, j'ai du thé, j'ai des bonbons, j'aime ça le sucré, les gâteries, bon. Fait que si la dette, si l'intérêt seulement, mais le principe de la dette reste pareil. Parce que si on paye juste l'intérêt, là, on va payer juste l'intérêt seulement. Fait on ne peut pas se soutenir. Dans d'autres mots, la dette ne peut pas augmenter. L'intérêt, ça ne peut pas augmenter, continuer d'augmenter, à moins qu'à un moment donné, vous allez faire faillite. Ça fait faillite. Ça fait faillite. Ça ne peut pas. C'est ça le principe. Fait que c'est là qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques. C'est ça qu'il faut comprendre. On est rendu là. C'est urgent. C'est urgent. C'est urgent. Économiquement, c'est urgent. C'est urgent, c'est ça, on est rendu, là. On a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette. Ça a plus que doublé. L'économie n'a pas doublé. En tant qu'individu citoyen, si votre intérêt que vous payez de 156 à 333, si ça double, là, vous allez devoir couper dans le budget. Couper quoi? L'Hydro-Québec, il faut vous le payer, votre loyer, il faut vous le payer. Bien, il faut vous payer votre loyer, là. Vous l'électricité, tu sais. Vous allez arrêter de fumer du cannabis, peut-être. Arrêter les sorties au cinéma, arrêter de boire la bière, du vin, du bacon, des saucisses plus chères. Il va falloir que vous réduisez la consommation. Il va falloir réduire le budget, réduire vos dépenses. Pas vous, mais vous en tant qu'abstrait, en tant que citoyen, là, qui je m'adresse, citoyen X, ça peut être moi, ça peut être vous, ça peut être quelqu'un d'autre. Je vous fais une parallèle équivalence avec les finances publiques, dans le fond. Qu'est-ce qui est arrivé là, avec les finances publiques? Fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ma TRD qui contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est un paradoxe, là. Ben, c'est ça, la TRD, je vous l'explique maintenant, parce qu'il faut, c'est urgent. Dans ce mois qui s'en vient, si on a un temps pour en parler, pour en discuter, pour en négocier, là, c'est là qu'il faut qu'on le fasse le plus tôt possible. Il faut qu'on fasse. Les tarifs, ils sont censés rentrer à minuit. D'après ce que j'ai entendu, il y a un mois. On a eu une entente d'un mois. On a eu une entente. On a fait un deal, en d'autres mots. Une entente d'un mois, on a fait un deal. On a fait un deal, on a fait un deal, quoi que ce soit, on a fait un deal. On a fait un mois, on a fait un deal. Donc, si on a fait ce deal, cette entente, bien sûr, dans cette entente, maintenant, il faut faire l'implémentation de matériel de la refusion de la dette, parce que c'est un paradoxe, mais c'est la solution, ou quelque chose de très similaire, très semblable à matériel, théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui contient, dans de matériel, ça contient la théorie d'intégration citoyenne. Ça contient la théorie d'intégration citoyenne. Donc, je vous l'explique. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000 à la Banque Royale, de tous les citoyens et citoyennes, de côte à côte, côte à côte, côte à côte. On va prendre toute la dette de côte à côte. On va faire l'addition ensemble de côte à côte. Puis, bien sûr, de côte à côte, on va faire l'addition ensemble. On va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, principalement au Canada, mais de préférence du Canada ensemble, bien sûr, de côte à côte, mais côte à côte, on va la faire ensemble de côte à côte, bien sûr. Fait que tout cet argent-là, de côte à côte, on va ramasser ensemble, on va faire bien sûr la conversion de toute la dette publique privée canadienne dans la devise des États-Unis. Avec cet argent-là, on va fonder une nouvelle banque. Fait que ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de correction sociale. Dans ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, théorie à refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. C'est la théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie que les Européens ont fait. Ils ont fait l'implémentation, ça fait bien longtemps, ça fait des années 90. Les Allemands, ils ont détruit leur banque centrale, les Italiens aussi, les Français aussi. Ils ont annulé, ils n'ont plus de banque centrale nationale, les pays en Europe, pas toutes là, mais bien des pays en Europe. Puis ils ont une monnaie commune. Ils n'ont plus leur Deutschmark en Allemagne, les Italiens, les Lira, les Français. Depuis les années 90, ils ont l'euro. Euro. Fait que ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation. C'est les Européens qui ont fait de l'implémentation. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée de côte à côte, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, son 10 000, votre 10 000, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, que vous avez plus ou moins, on va ramasser ensemble, faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, premièrement, mais au Canada, mais de préférence avec les États-Unis ensemble. Parce que c'est pour l'Amérique du Nord, puis le Mexique, l'Haïti, blablabla, il y a Cuba, Jamaïque, c'est les pays de l'Amérique du Nord, mais principalement binationales comme la Ligue de hockey nationale, la Ligue de basket nationale, puis la Ligue professionnelle de hockey féminin. La Ligue professionnelle de hockey féminin, la LPHF, qui vient de s'établir l'année passée. Fait que de préférence, ensemble, en même temps, Canada et États-Unis. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée de tous les citoyens et citoyennes, puis la dette publique-privée, convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, on va ramasser ensemble. Fait que toute cette dette-là... T'as-tu besoin d'aide? C'est quoi tu veux faire?
Je voulais le jeter dans la poubelle, mais j'étais en train de me dire, je pense que je me rends pas.
Ah non! Je vais te donner un coup de main.
Un gros merci pour ton
Ça fait
aide.
plaisir. C'est moi qui te remercie. C'est à cause de vous. J'ai pas trébuché sur la glace.
Ah, ça me fait plaisir. Ouais, en fait, moi, je suis celle qui a mis ben trop de sel, justement.
Ah ouais. Comment ça fonctionne ta machine un peu?
Mais dans le fond, ça
Ouais.
c'est ici, c'est pour contrôler ma pelle.
Oh fucking cool!
Ouais, c'est ça, mais
Rock'n'roll!
qu'est-ce qui est quand même nice, c'est que tu sais, je fais juste la côté de même, puis elle part tout seul.
Tabarnak!
Ouais,
Hey,
fait que
t'as
quand
une
je
belle
la côte de
machine.
même, elle suit le trottoir tout le long.
Ok.
C'est le fun.
C'est le fun?
Ah ouais,
Ben c'est ça que ça doit.
Attends, moi je vais te montrer, c'est quoi ma partie la plus fun à moi. C'est que je me sens manger ça. Là.
Ah ouais?
Ah, j'ai m'amusé.
C'est du folklorique ça?
Ah, je voulais,
C'est du folklore?
Ouais, c'est ça.
Je t'en compose du folklore dans la neige. Je me fais du déneigement, mais québécoise, hein? La danse dans la neige. Hein? Hey, ciao.
Bye, bonne soirée.
Toi aussi, pareillement. Eh ouais, ben la TRD, ça m'a fait plaisir, je voulais l'aider, mais elle était ma citoyenne, tu sais, t'es pas capable, aux citoyenne, je sais pas le genre, là, ça peut être androgyne, quoi que ce soit, mais le citoyen, comme moi, monsieur, madame, citoyen X, là, je me le dis, tu sais. that's all, mais l'aider avec la boisson pour le mettre bien sûr dans la machine, dans la patente, puis faire ça, tu sais. Faire du déneigement, puis faites un beau sourire, ça en fait plaisir de l'aider, puis ça pour la nourriture ici, ben faut que ça soit fermé quand même. Puis ça, on se déneige les mains, puis on s'entraide, je veux dire, tu sais. Ça vient de l'autre bord, fait que la TRD, la refusion de la dette, je vais faire bien sûr pour la faire. La TRD, la refusion de la dette. Je vais l'expliquer maintenant, mais ça en fait plaisir. Puis, citoyen, citoyenne, que je lui ai donné un coup de main pour l'aider avec à passer à mettre son verre dans le vidange. Dans les vidanges, puis avec la machine, mais on faisait le déneigement, puis c'est pour la ville, ça a bien fait, puis ça en fait plaisir de donner un coup de main, parce que sinon il y aurait eu quand même la misère, fait que je dis, ben, un petit bon samaritain, un petit bon coup de main. Fait que comme je disais tantôt, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc cette théorie monétaire qui ont fait de l'implémentation les Européens. Puis pourquoi je me prononce, puis je dis c'est la seule et unique solution, quelque chose de similaire. Parce que quelque chose, c'est pas exactement 100% juste ma théorie, mais quelque chose qui ressemble. C'est le principe, bien sûr, qu'il faut que vous reteniez. Le principe, là. C'est plus les principes. Les autres choses, si vous pouvez en rajouter puis en rajouter, mais le fondamental, c'est le principe. Le principe, c'est qu'on paye trop d'intérêt sur la dette publique. Que l'intérêt public, il a doublé, tu sais. L'intérêt public, il a doublé. C'est ça qu'il faut comprendre dans ces choses-là. L'intérêt public, il a doublé. C'est juste ça qu'il faut comprendre. L'intérêt public, il a doublé. Fait que dans ces choses-là, dans ces enjeux, que l'intérêt public, il a doublé, c'est plus que le double. C'est sauté de 20,3 à 46. Donc, juste en retenant le principe. Puis en plus, c'est ça qu'il faut retenir dans tout ça. Wow! C'est ça qu'il faut retenir. Le principe. Le principe. Le principe, tu sais. Fait qu'il faut retenir le principe. Le principe. Le principe. Donc, on va prendre encore une fois, mais on ne peut pas soutenir payer l'intérêt sur la dette publique. Ça ne peut pas augmenter, en d'autres mots. Ça ne peut pas augmenter, là. C'est pas possible, c'est urgent. C'est une urgence de finances publiques, puis même des finances privées aussi, là. En tant que citoyen privé, moi, j'ai pas de carte de crédit, là, mais des choses comme ça. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, votre 10 000, mon 10 000, on va ramasser ensemble. Tout cet argent-là, on va convertir en devise des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, on va convertir dans la devise des États-Unis. Ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Ça va faire la fondation d'une nouvelle banque. Tout cet argent-là. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, on va en mettre ensemble. On va en mettre ensemble. Incluant mon 10 000. Fait que de côte à côte. On va convertir la dette publique-privée canadienne dans la devise des États-Unis. Dans la devise des États-Unis. Dans la devise des États-Unis. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. Fait que toute la dette publique privée, ça va être l'argent initial principal pour la création d'une nouvelle banque. C'est pour ça que je vous ai dit que dans ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Dans ma théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait que toute la dette publique privée, convertie dans la dette, convertie dans devise des États-Unis, ça va être l'argent initial d'une nouvelle banque, puis on va mettre en circulation une nouvelle monnaie, on va appeler l'UI. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. L'unité d'échange universelle. Unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. Fait qu'on va faire la création de l'UI, de l'unité d'échange universelle. De l'UI, de l'unité d'échange universelle. La création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Basée, ça va avoir la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Du dollar des États-Unis. Fait qu'on va mettre en circulation une nouvelle monnaie, l'UI, avec cet argent-là. Ouais, c'est beau ça. Regarde comment c'est beau, c'est beau. Avec cet argent, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure de l'Amérique du Nord, le collectif, les ponts, bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec. Je passe là bas pour voir la lumière un peu, c'est beau ça. Il va falloir que je sois prudent, je vais attendre les automobiles. On va pouvoir financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, financer les gens au tourisme, parce que moi, en 2017, ça fait plus que 7 ans, quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, bien, j'ai réveillé. Je me suis dit, tellement de choses à faire, tellement de choses à voir quand même, là. C'était des choses tellement intéressantes quand même, tu sais, à voir puis à faire, tu sais. C'était des choses qu'il pourrait avoir à faire, là. Donc, juste au Québec, là, tellement de choses à faire, à voir, tu sais. C'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on aille, là, en commun, puis voir pour le bien-être, là, financer les gens en entraînement physique, bâtir, construire plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec, construire plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec qui vont nous donner plus de lumière, d'électricité comme ça, pas juste au Québec, au Canada, mais au collectif nord-américain. Construire les 44 tunnels, construire les 44, le chiffre après 43 avant 45, c'est 44. Construire les 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire. Dans le cas où il y a une guerre thermonucléaire. Dans le cas où il y a une guerre thermonucléaire. Dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire. Bâtir ce tunnel pour la continuité du collectif nord-américain de la civilisation. On va pouvoir financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, rebâtir l'infrastructure, bâtir, tu sais, où il faut qu'il y ait la construction des ghettos de l'Amérique du Nord. Tu sais, on a quand même des places qu'il faut qu'on réinvestisse dans ça à travers l'Amérique du Nord. Tu sais, financier pour la défense de côte à côte. Implémenter ma théorie là, pour l'armée du dragon, prêter allégeance légion, vous êtes famille. Pour la défense, la sécurité, service. L'opération Scorpion du Nord. Puis la théorie de la défense mobile totale. Ma théorie, je ne veux pas discuter en trop, mais la théorie de la défense mobile totale. 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 Fait que c'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse nous-mêmes, puis il faut qu'on fasse nous-mêmes pour en faire, bien sûr, pour en faire là, dans l'émergence. C'est des choses, vous voyez, c'est là, la montagne. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette ou quelque chose de similaire, pour la création de l'unité d'échange universelle, avec cet argent-là, ben, on va pouvoir faire bien des choses pour le bien commun, pas juste pour moi-même, mais pour le bien commun aussi. Fait en vous encourageant à faire l'entraînement physique, soutenez la TRD, prêtez allégeance légion, vous êtes famille, soutenez mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Et voilà la pyramide. La pyramide, quand même loin, mais c'est mon gratte-ciel préféré. Puis aider à construire sur la frontière canado-états-unienne le Colisée du peuple nord-américain impérial ou le Colisée impérial du peuple nord-américain. le temple de la déesse oubliée, le temple de la déesse oubliée, puis la pyramide écarlate rouge, pyramide, la maison du dragon, de votre dragon, puis le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel. C'est ça que je veux bâtir, puis ça c'est mon rêve, une partie de mon rêve qui est fondamentalement pour la renaissance, la joie, puis la sécurité et la défense du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. La sécurité et la défense du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. La sécurité et la défense du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. La sécurité puis la défense du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Collectif du Nord. Hey. La sécurité et la défense du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Puis that's it, that's all. Puis c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Puis bien faire. Puis that's it, that's all avec ça. Puis c'est ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Tu sais. Fait que prêter allégeance les gens de famille. On y va pour la gauche ou pour la droite. Quelque chose à la danse. See? That's the mountain, that's the mountain, that's the mountain. Ready for some rock and roll? Let's go. I'm gonna go on a trance now, bilingual rock and roll. The rock and roll bilingual. You see, that's the mountain where we were. See, that's miles though, that's miles and kilometers high there. It's miles and kilometers high, so let's get ready. You gonna hear that for rockin' the road. The dragon dance we go. Flip, 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 you know I sing that rock and roll. As I go so that you know that the concrete for the firefighters, LOV somebody cousin. And you know they got a snow removal, Montreal, I'm on the island, that's the haka. Puis je suis à Montréal, on fait le déneigement, pas de folklore. Québécois et Québécoises, bienvenue à la danse. Encore un petit morceau, puis ça chante. Et ma cousine, ben des tatouages sur les mains. Ça déneige. Elle a un camion de la gauche à la droite, puis ça fasse bouh. Machine, bouh. Ça tourne dans un cercle 360 dans la neige. Because there's the mountain. So he goes up. He goes up on the mountain, that's what's up. On the concrete jungle. That's a singing for the floor. That's a singing that you know. That's a singing for the right and for the floor. And the busy, that's the keep. And the busy, that's the leap. For the chosen, for the seep. For the chosen, for the flipper. The script so you can see Quebec, la belle province, that's what's up. We gotta sing it rock and roll, we gotta sing it that you know. We gotta sing it, swing it that you know. Il faut qu'on chante ben la danse, hey, Québécois et Québécoises, les mains dans les airs, pour sa face sans misère, ben des arcs-en-ciel, ben des abeilles, et sa face ça regarde, les lumières de la belle province, même si l'Hydro-Québec, ben ça déneige, et let's go away, let's go, rock and roll, you know we stop. Stop on the lobe, on the lobe, on the rope, on the lobe, on the rope, but we got it going on the freezing, on the dew, on the freezing, on the shoe, on the freezing, on the mountain. See, that's the mountain. That's where the mountain is. That's where we were, passing by up high. See, that is going. See how the mountain is. That's the peak, West Mount. Westmount, ça c'est Westmount, that is the goes up. That's one of the peaks, or the triple peak mountain where we just were. But now, we're miles and kilometers away from where we were earlier when we started the video, right? Because we're on the march, you know, so every hour is about 7 kilometers more, something like that. Approximately, you know, a my pace, you know, marching pace, fast marching pace, non-stop kind of. Some call it relentless with the rock and roll lessons. As I go for the best and for the freezes as you let it. As you live. Gotta kiss it, gotta swing it. For the rock and roll, you know you bring it. On the dough and on the go. On the mountain, on the score. You know that's the mountain, that's galore. For the snow up in the storm. You know that I sing it, c'est la tempête de la neige. Le mois de février, puis ça avance. Lundi soir, en février 2025. We're on Monday. Monday, that's the evening. 2025. That's the Monday, that's the evening. February, that's 2025. February 2025. That's the mountain, that's the evening. And that's Rainbow Dragon singing.